Hello, everyone, and welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin. Got a great show for you. We got some old movie news, two old movie reviews, as well as some Cuphead. So, with that, let's get the show started. As some Cuphead. So, with that, let's get the show started. All right, so for some old movie news for this week, we have the film I Know Where I'm Going, a film by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger, who were famous British directors back in the 40s and 50s. And this is from the Criterion Collection. They've already released this film before, but this is the first time it's ever been released in 4K. And it just came out in December, and so it's been about a month now, but this is still one of the newer 4Ks. And one of the things I like about the Criterion now is they are getting more into 4K releases. Um, so, yeah, I'm curious about it. I haven't seen any of these guys' films, so I want to at some point. I believe they did the film um, The Red Shoes. I want to see that at some point on the channel. So I'm really looking forward to checking out their filmography. All right, and then the next thing, so let me change it back to this view here. All right. So I picked up an old film this week that I wanted to show everybody. That's Wings. So this is a film I reviewed on the channel a few years back. This is the first film to ever win the Academy Award for Best Picture. And it's a really good silent film if you've never seen it. It's about pilots in World War One, as well as some romance and some camaraderie and friendship. It's a really good story. It's been retold many, many times in several different versions, like the film Pearl Harbor with oh my goodness, what's his name? With Ben Affleck. They have a very similar love triangle in that film about World War II as they do with this one. But yeah, I'm very excited to watch it again. This is the Blu-ray of the film, and it's currently on sale on Amazon. That's why I picked it up this time around, because it's a film I really enjoyed, and I can't wait to see it again. All right, so now we're going to get into today's movie review. All right. Yes, Bowser's Inside Story, exactly. A Michael Bay film. Alright, so let's turn off the chat for a second here while I do this review. Alright. Alright, so today's movie review is Tartuffe from 1926, starring Emil Jannings and directed by F.W. Murnau. So now, let me read the critic list description. A young man shows his millionaire grandfather a film based on Moliere's play Tartuffe in order to expose the old man's hypocritical governess who covets the young man's inheritance. Alright, so this is a very intriguing and interesting plot. I'm not familiar with the play that does take place in this movie, but I love Murnau, right? F.W. Murnau, one of the greatest directors in the silent era and from Germany. He also did Nosferatu, Faust, Sunrise. I reviewed several of his movies on this channel. He's just a really good director. So plot-wise, I really liked this one. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was very interesting. I like the mix of the modern time and the old time within this film. It's interesting how timeless this sort of a story can be. How we're all capable of falling for, hypocrites and charismatic leaders or people or whoever. It could be religiously, politically, an actor, a boss, whomever it is, we're all susceptible to that sort of a thing. And for myself, I know that that applies in my life. I know, um, I have to make sure that things I do in my life do not supersede the love that I have for my wife and for my family. And I think that's a very universal lesson that we can all learn. Anyone could relate to that for sure. So, yeah, that's why I gave the plot a 5 out of 5. All right, let's move on to the directing. The acting. Let me backtrack. All right, so let's move on to the acting. The acting, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really good. I wish we had more time with Emil Jannings. He's pictured there on the left. He's the Tartuffe. That's his character. I also would have liked to see more of the husband and why he was devoted to Tartuffe. We're kind of just introduced to that concept, but no real reasoning behind it. But otherwise, the actress for the wife was good. Probably the best cast member in the whole film. But overall, it was fine acting. I wish there was a little bit more to it. All right, 4 out of 5. All right, let's move on to the set design. Set design, 5 out of 5. I thought they looked incredible, especially in the 18th century part of the film. Because the film itself starts out in a modern setting, 1920s Germany. And then the grandson, he's wearing a disguise. He puts up a projector and starts playing this story here. And that's where we spend most of the film is in the story. It was an interesting choice for sure, and I thought the set designs looked incredible and looked very realistic to the era. I was very, very impressed with it. 5 out of 5. All right, cinematography. I get a 4. I thought it was pretty basic, but there were some really cool close-ups, and the shot that I really liked was there was a giant candlestick in the foreground, and you have Tartuffe on one side, the wife on the other, and they're kind of converging in the middle. I thought that was really cool. That was a really cool shot, but overall, pretty basic. Nothing super crazy. 4 out of 5. All right, the music. So I gave it a 3.5, as I typically do with silent films if the score isn't the original one. But I like the one that is here. I believe it was recorded in 2002. At least the Kino Lorber version that I saw was. I thought it worked really, really well. It sounded very orchestral. It really set the tone and the mood. So, yeah, 3.5 out of 5. All right, so my overall score is a 4.3 out of 5, which is an 86% on Criticless. Now, let me break down my Criticless rating. Graphic language, none. Violence, none. Nudity, sexual content. There's some low-cut dresses that are kind of typical of the 18th century. Political bias, none. Family friendly. I don't think kids should watch this. Not because it's, super gruesome or sexual or anything like that. But I don't think kids would understand the story or what's going on. I don't think they'd be interested in it. Entertainment value, very entertaining and a very interesting concept with a film within a film. I thought that was pretty well handled and put together. So overall, would I recommend this movie? Yes, I would. This has that timeless story, like I was mentioning, about the need to make sure whatever your passion is, do not let it overwhelm the love you have for your spouse. That could be your career, a political figure, a movement you support, or even a podcast. Make sure, whatever it may be, make sure your family is still central. And I think that's a great message that a lot of us could appreciate and learn from. All right, well, those are my thoughts overall on Tartuffe from 1926, and that concludes today's movie review. All right, let's bring up the chat here. Bowser's Inside Story. Wow, I read the English play of that. Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, so now that I've seen this, I might want to check out the play at some point. It was pretty intriguing, interesting story. All right. So that's that one. So, one of the things I've been doing for the past month is also recording a second podcast that will be coming out further down the road, as I will have a very busy schedule in a couple of weeks here. So this will help me keep up to date with that. So let me bring that up here. Okay, perfect. All right, now let's get into the next review. Oh, you know what? What year did this movie come out? 1 second. I forgot to add the year. I think it's 1938. Or 48, excuse me. 1948. Yep, perfect. All right, let's bring up that view. Alright, so today's movie review is The Pirate from 1948, starring Judy Garland and Gene Kelly. Now let me show you the criticalist description. A girl's engaged to a local rich man, but meanwhile, she dreams about the legendary pirate Makoko, a traveling singer who falls in love with her and tries to impress her and poses as a pirate. Alright, so let me show you my thoughts on the plot. The plot, I gave it a 2 out of 5. Look, I thought that the look of this movie, the design of it, was really intriguing. I liked some of the songs. The plot is definitely on the back burner, and I was really, really bored with it. I'm sorry. I really wanted to like this and really enjoy it, but I was really bored out of my mind. I don't know if it was the acting, people were miscast. I don't know. Musical. I like musicals. I have nothing against them, but for some reason, this one, it just felt a little too saccharine, if that makes sense. A little too cheesy, a little too whatever. Maybe I'm just not the biggest fan of Vincent Minnelli, although I'm pretty sure he did Meet Me in St. Louis, and I liked that film. So I think it's just this one in general. Maybe it just wasn't right, the music or the storyline. I'm not sure. And the ending was a little ridiculous with Gene Kelly's character. He's about to be executed. He's like, "Wait, my lord, let me play you a song." And I don't know. It just felt a little too cheesy for me. That's why I gave the plot a 2 out of 5. All right, let's move on to the acting. The acting, I gave it a 3. It was just all right. I'll be honest. I think Judy Garland. I think her best role is really The Wizard of Oz or Meet Me Down in St. Louis. I don't know. I just didn't really like her here. Gene Kelly was fine. He's always funny. He's always got, interesting. He's an interesting actor for sure. I don't know. Maybe these guys just were miscast to me. I just wasn't feeling it with them. I can't remember who the actor was, but I liked the judge actor near the end of the film, and I liked some of the other ones. Maybe it was that they weren't really speaking in like a more pirate type of speaking, or more so of the era. It felt more modern. Maybe that's what it was, but that's why I gave the acting a 3 out of 5. All right, the set design. Look, I'll be honest. I gave it a 4. I thought it looked really, really good. I was very impressed with the stages and with the colors and the costumes. That, I think, is the highlight of the movie. It looks incredible. It is definitely well choreographed and well put together. And I'm glad we got to see a bit more of Gene Kelly's abilities. His dancing and singing and all of that. He was really, really good at that. So that's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. All right, cinematography, another 4. Like I said, it looks incredible. Some great close-ups. I wish I had the full scene here, but there's kind of a famous, maybe TikTok or reel or whatever, where Gene Kelly, he's got a cigarette in his mouth, right? He's kissing a woman. Then he puts the cigarette in his mouth, kisses the woman, then puts it back out and starts smoking it again. It's kind of wild that he did that. Very vaudevillian for sure. So that's a very intriguing scene. Like I said, it looks amazing. The costumes and the color and all that. Technicolor is incredible. I wish there was more of it, and I wish we could recreate it today, because supposedly we've lost the ability and the technology to recreate the magic of Technicolor. So, anyways, that's why I give the cinematography a 4 out of 5. All right, the music. I thought it was pretty bland. 3 out of 5. Nothing memorable for me with it. I thought it was just okay. I wasn't a big fan of it. I think the singers have much better songs in other films. Um, Gene Kelly singing in the Rain, and Judy Garland with Wizard of Oz and Meet Me in St. Louis. Those songs in those three films are much more memorable, much more intriguing. These just fell flat. I didn't think they worked for me. 3 out of 5. Okay, so that makes my score a 3.2 out of 5, which is a 64%. So now let me break down my critical score. Graphic language, none. Violence, there's some mild fighting, but it's very, very tame, very choreographed, almost like a dance. So very, very tame. Nudity, sexual content. There's some scantily clad women, typical of this pirate era, but nothing crazy. Political bias, none. Family friendly, very much so. I think if you have kids, they'll love the zaniness of it. They'll love the colorful costumes and all that. I think they'll like it. I don't think boys will like it as much, though, because it is a musical. That's usually a hard sell for boys, at least for me. That was always a hard sell, even though I love, like, Disney and whatnot. But, yeah, but I think so. And entertainment value, it's pretty entertaining. Music's alright. Costumes are great, but that's about it. So overall, would I recommend this movie? No, it's pretty mediocre. I think all of the cast have been in better films. And I think Vincent Minnelli has done better films too. I'm pretty sure he did Meet Me in St. Louis. That's a much, much better film than this one. So, yep. Those are my thoughts overall on The Pirate from 1948, and that concludes today's movie review. All right. Let's bring this view back up. Let's bring that chat back up. All right. Let's hear how we're sounding. Let's bring it. Perfect. Okay. All right. So now, let's bring back up Cuphead. Steam. Let's see. I'll probably play for about 20 or 30 minutes. Alright. Yeah, sorry I'm late today. I had such a busy night tonight, but I'm very excited to play some more Cuphead. Let's change that back to small view.
Well, Cuphead and his pal Bugman, they like to roll the dice. By chance they came on Devil's Gate.
Let's hear how loud that is.
They like to roll the dice. By chance they came on Devil's Gate.
Let's hear how loud that is. Perfect. All right.
And gosh, they paid
Test,
the
test, test.
price.
Perfect.
Paid the price.
All right. So I think I think I'll do the airplane one right now. Let's do the easy mode. I want to beat it first.
A brawl is surely brewing. It's on.
Ah, dang it.
A great slam and then some. You're up.
Here, 1 second. Got my doggo here. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright. Yep, he had to go to the bathroom. He's a puppy. Alright.
A brawl is surely brewing. You're up.
Oh, I was so close.
A brawl is surely brewing. You're up.
Ah! I'll just die right now. Yeah. Okay, I'll try one more
A
time.
great slam and then some. You're up.
Okay, one more time, and then I'll do a different one and come back.
This match will get red hot. Here goes.
Dang it! Oh, I was so close. I'll come back.
And begin.
No! I was so close. Oh.
And begin.
One more time.
You're up. And begin. And begin.
Alright. Try one more time. I really want to get this one.
And begin.
Nope. Okay. Oh yeah, I haven't done this one on regular yet.
This match will get red hot. And begin.
Ugh.
A great slam and then some. Now
Ugh.
Good day for a swell battle. It's on.
Yeah. All right, one more
Here's
time.
a real high-class bout. Now go.
No! Ugh. Dang it. Okay, I got about 5 more minutes left. Ugh. Let me try this one again.
Here's a real high-class bout. Here goes.
Ah! Bakers and Movies We See Cape Fear series. No, I hadn't heard of that. So probably not.
A brawl is surely brewing. Now go.
Dang it. Bowser's Inside Story, the animation is beautiful though. Oh, absolutely. And then, do you know the spin trick to get extra lives in the overworld? I don't think I do.
Red hot. Here goes.
No! Hey, cruising movies. I like Frog and the Toad. There is a frog and toad in this game.
Here's a real high-class bout.
Yeah, I was just playing that level too. Ah, jeez. No! I am off my A game today, man. Yep. Alright. I'm gonna try one more, then I'm gonna call it quits for today.
Here goes.
No! I was right there! Ah! Gosh.
You're up.
No. Okay.
Here goes.
No! Dang it! Look how close I was. Oh. Okay.
It's on.
This is it. This is the one. I can feel it. Yes. No! That little bugger. Okay. This has to be the one. This has to be. No. No, I think that's it, man.
Well, Cuphead and his pal Bugman, they like to roll the...
All right. So we had a little bit of a short show today, but thank you everybody for watching, especially to Bowser's Inside Story and Acres of Movies. And with that, this has been Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin. Take care.